Hey everybody, so we made it through 2025. I thought with Max Egan here we should talk about all the psyops of 2025 before we head into 2026 and what we expect in 2026. But first, Max, I actually went on to try to find when was our first video together. And I actually ended up asking Grok, because Grok seems to know everything now.
Wow.
And because I couldn't find it anywhere else. And it said, oh yeah, you had your first interview on Anarchast in 2015. Then you had another one in 2016 or 18 or 17 or something like that. And then another one in like 2021. And it actually said the episodes. So I was like, oh, I'll go watch some of those and see what it was like when I was first talking to you back in 2015. So I went on YouTube, and you can't actually find anything if you search for us on YouTube. It won't show up in the search. But I went to Anarchast channel, which is still on YouTube. And I looked for episode 202 was the first one in 2015. And you can see all the episodes. It's like 198, 99, 200, 201. Then it goes 203, 204. So ours is missing. And I was like, well, that must be just some weird thing, right? So then the next one was 260 something. So I went there. And the only episode that was missing was ours again. And then the last one we did was the Christchurch thing. That's been deleted off of everywhere now. So we've actually been deleted most of the times we've ever done these videos in the past. And I can't find them anywhere now.
That's interesting. Like, I wonder if I've got them in an archive somewhere. You never know. I mean, my old channel never came back. I had my channel restored, my big channel, but my original channel never came back. And my one that I've got on there now, I think, didn't open until probably 2016. So there's still a good 8 years of videos. But I'd still have them on a hard drive somewhere.
I might still have them somewhere too. I think my guys do store them somewhere, but I
Interesting
couldn't
to
find
see
them
what
online.
was said.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a crazy year, and it's going to get even more crazy. Like the last couple of shows I've done, I've been talking about how everything we've seen since World War II, really, the 9/11 attacks, all this stuff, it's all been basically to create greater Israel. That's what it's all been about. Sure, there's other factors at play, but now they're at a point where they believe they've got to anoint their Messiah by October 7th, 2027. So they need to kickstart this war. Trump just said yesterday, I think, that he's going to go and attack Iran again.
Yeah.
On behalf of Israel. Like, there's no reason for the United States to attack Iran. But they're going to do it. They really need to kickstart this war. And you've seen since World War II, massive increases in the prosperity of Israel, and the entire Western world has gone into decline. And that's what this is all about. And until you can understand that's the end goal of the people who are sort of running the show here, you can't see how it all connects together. But once you see that is the end goal, then everything connects together, you know? And
Yeah.
even now, like I said on a show, the last show, one of the things that's come out of this Bondi shooting in Australia is that Israel now wants to put a police force. They said, oh, we're going to need armed security guards for Jews in Australia. That's what they said. I said, what you're going to see, I said this a week ago or 2 weeks ago, you're going to see a call now for an Israeli police force to be put in place in all Western countries. And just yesterday, Rabbi Shmuel has announced his Jewish Defense Force.
Hi, everyone. Of all the initiatives I've launched throughout my almost 40-year career as an activist in the Jewish community as a rabbi, few have had the kind of avalanche, overwhelming response of announcing the formation of the JDN, the Jewish Defense Network. Now, it's been published everywhere, my article, my idea. This idea has been germinating since October 7th. The idea is simple, I want you to understand it. We are not here to create a protective force of armed people who have training in jiu-jitsu or karate or self-defense or even armed. That will be stage 2 or stage 3, along with the police and what's allowed in every respective country. Stage 1 is simple. In the same way that in Israel, like with my friend Eli Bear and Hatzalah, if God forbid you're not feeling well, you can call the Hatzalah number, or in most cities in America, there's a local Hatzalah. And even those that it's an ambulance corps from the city, Jewish volunteers will come within 90 seconds, 2 minutes.
And he even named it said it today on X that it's a Jewish police force, armed Jewish police force in all Western countries, which is what I was saying. A lot of this was about. So, Israel's basically got a third or a fifth column in all of our countries. It's created these terror attacks in order to create anti-Semitism, in order to create the need for armed blah, blah, blah. It's all part of the plan. And they want to take over the world. And you saw when Trump, his assassination attempt, I mean, forget it. It wasn't like that whole ritual when the willing slave has to pierce his right ear in order to want to stay in servitude to his master. And when did Trump announce that he's going to go and bomb Iran again? I mean, Bibi, he couldn't contain himself. He was sitting there like almost breaking out in hideous laughter. You could see his jaw was literally trembling, trying not to laugh about it. He was beside himself. So
and
it's
he gave
crazy.
him the Israel Award as well. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It's never been given to a non-Israeli, but Trump is as Israeli as they get at this point.
Yeah, and after the shooting, like for New Year's Eve in Australia, they got a giant menorah projected on the Opera House in Australia. For
Yeah, the
New
White
Year
House.
this year.
Yeah, the White House didn't even have a Christmas tree. They just had a menorah.
I know.
It's like they're just openly. This is who's running everything now.
Well, when Trump got elected, Bibi Netanyahu said, like, there's a speech somewhere, you'd have to find it. It's in Hebrew. It's translated in subtitles, and he says to the Jewish people, or the people of Israel, he says, we are now in possession of a superpower, which means they are in possession of the United States. Not as a super weapon or anything, a superpower, the United States. So the United States is just falling over themselves to do everything Israel wants, and they want to wipe out the Arab world. They want to create this war between East and West, and they want basically the Christians and the Muslims to wipe each other out. And Israel will end up being the center of world trade. It'll be the center of world governance, be the center of world technology. All the smart grid, all the stuff is all coming out of Israel. It's all the same people doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's so incredible how many things happened this year. Because I was thinking about this. This is this is probably going to go up on basically New Year's Eve. We're recording it the day before. And I was looking back at 2025, and I was looking through everything. And we actually had it in the last Dollar Vigilante December issue. I listed them all, so that's where I went and looked. And man, there was so much. Like just 1 year ago, that's when Trump was just getting in, basically. That's also when those LA fires were. Remember that? Like there's so many of these things that people have almost forgotten at this point. The very first thing he did on day 1 or 2 was he had Larry Ellison, who's Jewish, of course, a billionaire, who they announced a $500 billion AI vaccine data center. So many insane things. There've been so many psyops this year. Remember that 33rd floor BlackRock shooter guy? Remember when the Israeli diplomats got shot, they said, but they turned out to be Christian Zionists, so they had them killed and said that they're attacking the Jews and all this sort of stuff. Then, of course, there was one of the bigger ones was the whole Charlie Kirk thing. That was pretty huge.
Which is still ongoing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And like I've said, I mean, I never actually heard of Charlie Kirk before he died. And even when then I thought it was somebody else. I thought it was the other guy sitting at the desk, the prove me wrong guy, who's actually speaking out against Candace Owens and blah. I don't know. That whole thing's turned into a soap opera. Like they're laughing at us. They're just get the whole AmFest thing. But they got the booth there. And apparently it's the actual booth. It's not a replica. It's the actual booth that he got unalived in. I wonder if they're charging dollars, money to go and have a selfie in there. Like, I
Probably
wonder.
shekels.
It's incredible. Like and
It's
JD
like,
Vance
it's like
walking out to that Holly song. I mean,
The song about Charlie and a guy getting shot.
yeah. And
And the
what's
FBI.
that? What's that? It's not Cardi B. What the other one? Nicki Minaj out there. But like it's.
Yeah,
So she's just destroyed everything that Charlie Kirk stood for.
oh yeah.
And it's been incredible. and people are still arguing back and forth and all this sort of stuff about it.
It'd be like with the JFK assassination. If like 2 months later, Jackie Onassis or whatever her name was having all these events with fireworks, and they had a replica of the car where he was shot.
I know.
You could sit in the car and take your photo.
It's like it's.
And
It's
then
like-
who hosted his show as like the very first person to host his show, like almost the next day. Like it was like 2 or 3 days later. J.D. Vance hosted the Charlie Kirk show. And then the second person who hosted it was Mossad agent Ben Shapiro. And they're all like, yeah, Charlie was such a great man. He supported Israel so much.
You see how much they're all falling though. Like, you know, on X, all their posts. I mean, Ben Shapiro, his viewership has just plummeted.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't trust Candace Owens. A lot of the stuff. So I got forced to watch like 4 of her shows, 3 or 4.
You're
Like
forced.
actually sit there because I was at a friend of mine's place in Sonora who's a big Candace Owens fan, and she made me sit there and actually watch. And when I watched the shows, I thought actually I agree with everything she said. I can't find anything wrong with anything that she said on this show. And I watched 3 or 4 of them, and I agree with all of them. But I thought, but she's still really left brain, and she's a Catholic. So, you know, and then
it's still
this-
all about
and
the
it's-
right-left
it's
with
a-
her, right?
Well, to a degree, she's starting to say a lot of the things that I've said for years, and she's caused a lot of people. Like I watched one of her shows; she had 1.4 million people viewing, and it was a live show. And I thought these are all kids, and what she's doing is she's encouraging all these young kids to ask questions. And then she did that whole closed door thing with her, and it's turned into a soap opera. Now it's her and Ben Shapiro having, you know, tit tats to each other and all that sort of stuff. But one thing I like is that she's caused a lot of young people to ask questions, which is good. But like I've said, all of this stuff is a distraction from what I just talked about before. What's going on in the background? This whole smart thing, like digital ID, all of the stuff that is rolling out, digital cash, digital ID. Greater Israel, all this stuff is rolling on in the background while everyone's distracted with all of this stuff, you know?
Yeah, and that was one of the other big things is they put in Palantir, basically tracking everything in the U.S. now, and that's like a government contract. And of course, Alex Karp is Jewish, of course, a billionaire.
Yeah.
All these things are all sort of related. And then Australia's had so many psychological operations done on them. The most recent in Bondi Beach, which totally looks totally sketchy.
Absolutely. I mean, whether they were MK Ultra or whatever, so many people saying nothing happened and nobody died. I think it's probably more suited to their purpose to have people die, because one of the big things they're doing, one of the reasons they've made the genocide so open in Gaza is because they want to create as much anti-Semitism around the world as they can, because there's a lot of Jews in the world. People like Andrew Kaufman, who's a nice guy. I've got a couple of friends in Sedona, like the guy who did that Scam music video, him and his girlfriend, blonde European-looking people.
Presence?
Yeah, they call themselves, they say, yeah, well, we're Jews, you know.
Oh, is it?
They want people like, and they hate what Israel's doing. It's just like people like you and me. You'd never know they were Jews. But they said, well, you know, our parents are Jews, so I guess, you know. And that's the same with Andy Kaufman. He goes, well, my mum was a Jew, but, you know. And it's going to get to the point where people like Andy and people like Presence are in fear, and the only place they can do it is run back to Israel, because that's what Israel wants them to do. He wants to put every single Jew out there who doesn't agree with Israel's policies, he wants to put fear into them. And it's quite prepared to go out and kill a few of them in order to... So you've got the community talking about it, Jewish communities going, wow, you know, Mary's son died the other day, you know. It's got to be people that they know to put the fear into the community to drive them all back, because they need population to populate Greater Israel. They intend to annex Jordan and parts of Syria, and they've already done Palestine. That's why they've done the genocide in Gaza. They don't need them there anymore. They needed their pet terrorist force there. I mean, they put Hamas in place. They kept, if the Palestinians were really terrorists and really shooting rockets at them all the time, they could have taken them out in a day. But they didn't. They kept live targets there so they could test their weapons. Hamas is sending over these water pipes powered with fertilizer so they can have the excuse to go and test their weapons, and also to say, we're under attack, we've been under attack for 40 years, you know, and give us money. So now they've got all that money. Benjamin Netanyahu's about to spend $110 billion on their own independent arms industry, while they're activating police forces in all Western countries, and the entire Western world is going into decline. They've flooded it with migrants to the point that you need mass surveillance to figure out who's doing all the crime with the migrants. And it also creates a civil war on the ground in all of these countries, destabilises the entire world. But Israel's there and saying, look, we managed to get through it all and we're the strongest country. Because you did it all, you know?
It's really
insane.
ingenious.
But it's all coming to fruition now. But all of this can be traced back to a common source. I mean, World War I, World War II, it's all the same thing. It's all led to this same point, and it's all been a long-going plan.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's pretty ingenious when you think about it, but it's super, super evil. Like, it's just,
Oh, yeah.
like, these people are, like, not all Jews, but a lot of them, many of them, are super evil.
Well, it's the Kabbalistic Jews who are the ones who are in control of Israel. And as has been said by there's a guy called John Bjerknes, which I'm actually going to, once I get set up somewhere, I'm going to have him on for a chat. And he's shown you what's really going on in the Kabbalah. And there's that priest I had in one of my, or rabbi on one of my recent shows, he said that their purpose is to destroy Amalek. And the belief in the Kabbalah, the Kabbalistic teachings are that the earth was actually created to be the opposite of God. It was created basically for God to put all his bad energy in there, and then these guys have come along to destroy evil. The earth, by its very embodiment, or the earth is the embodiment of evil, and every living thing upon it. So in order for the Kabbalistic Jews to gain control and to become one, the chosen 144,000, and ascend Jacob's ladder and return back to God, they need to destroy Amalek, which is evil, which is the earth itself, not just Western culture.
That actually answers a lot, because a lot of the time I'd be talking about all this and I'd be like, they're trying to kill everything. Like, look at all the chemtrails, look at how they're doing everything. Like, they're trying to kill everything.
Everything.
And the response, very rightfully so, is, well, why would they do this? They would kill themselves. They don't even care. This is like the sickest cult ever. It's amazing how people talk about cults. And of course, every religion's a cult. Obviously Christianity is a cult. It's about one person. But some cults are better than others, but this cult is like the sickest, and it's got like laws all over the world. You can't talk bad about them. They're in control of almost everything, and a lot of people still don't see it.
Yeah, well, they don't, because they're just brainwashed by the books and brainwashed by the media and all this sort of stuff, and it's anti-Semitic to even say this sort of stuff. But the thing is, like, with the Kabbalistic Jews, they don't care about the other Jews. They don't care about anybody who's probably even alive at the moment. According to Chris John Bjerknes, they say that the 144,000 who will ascend Jacob's ladder will be cloned from the foreskin of their Messiah.
It's the craziest cult.
So, and you've got to understand, like, some of the stuff we saw coming out of West Bank and Gaza, where there were Jewish kids going in there, like teenagers, 14, 15, 16-year-old kids, going into stables and stuff in West Bank and picking up lambs and putting them over their shoulders and holding the forelegs and the back legs and just throwing them on the concrete and just killing them and stomping on their heads and gouging their eyes out and all this sort of stuff in the most brutal ways possible. You've got to understand, if you are brought up into a cult where you're taught that every living thing, which is not the chosen, which is not you with your little things and your little hat, is evil, and that you should rejoice in the destruction of evil, and that when you attack your enemies, you're doing it because they are evil, so you should kill your enemies and you should kill their parents and their children and their animals and their crops and their trees and everything that they ever touched, and erase every single memory of them. And you're brought up to believe that this is your purpose, and by doing that you are doing good. You are erasing evil.
Yeah, it's
it becomes a little bit easier to understand why they think the way they are. Why it's a culture of pure, unbridled psychopathy, and they're taught to have absolutely no empathy for anything that isn't a Jew. You know?
It's so crazy. What a crazy world.
Yeah, it's hard because people. I've often said, to understand evil, you've got to actually. To understand how a psychopath thinks, you've got to try to think like a psychopath. And you've got to understand that there are two types of joy if you think of ecstasy. The joy you have when you're in love, or when your child's born, or there's things that happen in our lives which you get that incredible rush of ecstasy. There's a dark side of that as well. And when you've got total control over the life of another and the ability to just snuff that life out or do anything you want with that little soul there. This is it's like a drug for these people, and they crave it, you know. And the more they've got, the more access they've got to everything all the time, then the more perverse they get, the more perverse the sexual activity gets, the more horrendous the torture becomes, because they're constantly looking for the next thrill, you know. And again, all of this is a mirror. It's a mirror of what we're supposed to be, and everything they're creating is absolutely a mirror. This whole digital ID, everything that they're leading us into is a mirror, and that's what we're heading to. We are heading for the most crazy time over the next 2 years. We are heading for war on so many fronts. But again, you've got to think, well, how does it affect you personally? It only affects you if you're a soldier and you're sent over there to participate in that war. And if you are, well, don't freaking go. Don't join the military to begin with. And like I said, you've got to be in touch with your life skills. You've got to walk the path of the warrior. You've got to be prepared to just take any path as it opens to you, because this is the big reckoning. This is the big reckoning, and it's all going to become so crazy, and people aren't going to believe what they're going to see over the next couple of years. I think so
too. It's going to be absolutely insane. And it's so interesting to me too that for years you've been talking about how people are going to get put into the mainframe. And I have to say, for the first few years that you were saying it, I just go, what? Like, what does that even mean? Like, what's he even talking about? But over the years, I'm starting to see it more and more. And then I met and hung out a lot more with Christoph Melchizedek. And that's basically what he says is happening as well, from a very different perspective. Like, he did it mostly by doing a ton of iboga, which gives him like these massive downloads, so you can see how the entire matrix works now. But you came about it completely separately, but you're both basically saying the same thing. And even in your last video, or 2 videos ago, you mentioned that this world basically has the mimic or the mirror sort of a thing, and that's exactly the same words he uses, but you both came at it from a totally different angle, but you both arrived at the same sort of conclusions.
Yeah, that's a conversation that I had with Sasha Daygame, Alex, back in
who's Jewish, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, you know. Not all Jews, but many, you know. But that's a conversation I had back with him back in I think 2018. But I don't know if it made the interview or not. But I was talking if you could think of a mirror, like tracking every single activity of everybody and creating their version of it and bringing you into that. You know, like we don't think anymore. We don't do anything anymore. It started like with Bernays putting cake mixers on the shelves, so that women didn't mix food anymore, didn't know how to make a cake anymore. And women, when that all happened, like people didn't want to buy a cake mix. The women felt guilty. What, a pre-made cake mix? They felt guilty. So then Bernays said to the company, well, tell her to add an egg, because then she feels like she's participating in the cooking. And that's it, the cake mixes were flying off the shelves. So through propaganda and all this sort of stuff and the concept of convenience, they've managed to create a mirror world. And soon people won't be able to function without that mirror world. Soon it's going to get to the point, like, soon everything's going to be online. If you want to travel, your passports, your driver's license, your cash, all this sort of stuff will be online. I'll say the system, it's voluntary, but it's already got to the point where you've got to use your cell phone to do stuff, to travel, to have a bank account, to blah, blah, blah. Soon, you won't have the access to the cell phone. It'll be a chip in your body. Or it won't even need to be a chip, because you just have to have an injection, because we've already got the graphene in you. We've already built the operating system, the Internet of Bodies, IOB. This is what 6G is, because G is just generation, first generation, second generation, right up to 5th generation, which was the 5G, which was the introduction of the millimeter wave for communication, which gives you the ability to turn it into a weapon system as well, and to geofence areas with 5G, because you're using a millimeter wave, which is military-grade technology. Now it's 6G. Now it's your body being hooked up to that as well. So and soon you won't be able to function. You won't be able to go through a border, or you won't be able to drive a car. You won't be able to have access to your cash. It'll be all retinal scans and stuff like that. You go into a supermarket, you walk in there, it'll scan you when you walk in the supermarket, you pick up the items you want, it'll scan your retina as you leave and automatically take credits out of your account. If you've posted on Facebook or social media something that Israel doesn't like that day, you might find you don't have any credits. And then they'll just geo-fence you in the store and wait for the police to come and pick you up.
Which will be robots.
Jeff's all trapped in Woolworths at the moment. We've geo-fenced him so he can't walk past the doorway, or he hits an active denial because of the code we've got in his DNA. And this is how they can do it all. It's the total control grid, and they're getting to a point like everything that this is half the reason they even introduced the monetary system and made it so you had to pay to be alive and have registration and have passports and all the sorts of stuff they did. You didn't have passports before World War One. Mm-hmm. It all started, carry this ID around, and soon you are your ID, and you've got to do what you're told, or you are biometrically locked out of everything. Which means you get home, even if you do make it out of Woolworths, once they've trapped you in there, you get through the active denial doorway, you'll get home and your door locks are all biometric and they won't open for you, and your electric car won't work to bring you here anyway. And this is what they can do with this system.
Yeah, well, I'll be on my ranch, and you might be there with us as well, and we'll figure things out from there. There's also some good news in that Christoph Melchizedek says he's been taking away this mirror mimic system from basically this Earth. So he says that's going to be happening over the next few years. So there's some hope there as well.
Well, I don't think human consciousness will let itself be this enslaved. I mean, a lot of the NPCs will, but this is the moment of judgment. We'll end up in a Hunger Games situation where people are just completely disconnected, and when you're in that situation, you will not have access to anything. You won't have access to electricity or the internet or any of that sort of stuff. You'll be out there on your own, and that's why people, I've said, set networks up, get to know who people are, because when the grid goes down and you get locked out, you're not going to be able to pick up your house phone and just call someone. All communication's online now. If you can't get online, or you can't communicate, you can't access your crypto, you can't access anything. If you're biometrically barred from going online at all, and it's all biometrics, then, and you can see that they're doing it, like everything, they're doing it everywhere.
Well, they just started in Australia.
Yeah, they're preparing you for it.
If you were
everywhere.
in Australia right now, and if you weren't using a VPN, if you want to use any sort of search engine or anything, they're doing face scans.
Starting December 27, Australians will now need to upload their ID every time they're logged in to do an internet search. Google, Bing, it sounds scary, right? And you might not even know it was introduced. It's all part of a new age verification code, and it's been put in place to stop kids engaging with adult content. But it actually affects all of us, teenagers, retirees. Every time you want to do a Google search and you're logged in, you'll either have to provide your ID, it'll link to your digital ID, or you'll use something like facial recognition. It's going to affect us all, and it's a really big change.
To check who you are first.
Yeah, to protect the children.
Yeah, the children. It's always for the children.
To protect the children, of course. Thank God we've got the government there protecting the children.
Yes.
But this is how it all starts. I mean, and the rest of the world is looking at that. I mean, what they've done in Australia, they disarmed the population, they run these PSYOPs, they've got all this smart grid rolling out. It's becoming a role model for the rest of the world to show you how it's done. You know, they've been trying this on the United States for years, all these false flags and all this sort of shit, really, really trying to disarm the American people, but they're just not buying into it. But even with that, I mean, you don't need violence. Like I've been saying for years, you disconnect from it. How I've managed to do all the stuff that I do is I've lived my life with 1 foot in the system and 1 foot out of the system. You know, I'm in the system enough to have been able to have a passport and a license and registration on my car and a bank account. So I've got freedom of movement and I can access funds anywhere in the world. That's all I've done. That's the only thing that ties me to the system. Soon, I'm going to need digital and biometric stuff to even be able to do that. But
what are you going to do when that happens?
Well, I guess I'm just going to have to stay wherever I happen to be at the time, you know?
Yeah, you're not going to do it?
No,
You're not
no way. Well, this is when you sell your soul. This is when you go into the mainframe. And ultimately, what I've said to people before, you know, the one part about life is death. You came here to die. And how you face that, I believe, I would suggest, is the most important challenge. They do everything they can through this exam that you're participating in to get you to give away more of what you know to be right in order to comply, to use their little machine and use their designated enjoyment zones and all this sort of shit. Like everything, every time we comply with a regulation that we know is wrong, we comply with it anyway. I mean, sure, border ID and stuff is wrong and right, and it's a grey area, but if it gets to the point that it's going to be in my body and I can't travel unless I do what I'm told, well, I'm not going to do what I'm told. I'm going to leave this realm with my soul intact. I'm not going to comply. If you choose to kill me for that, then that's on you. That's not on me, because I came here to die anyway. Eventually I'm going to die. What, you want me to give away more and more of my soul so I can stay a little bit longer in the prison and more locked down while I'm in the prison? No thanks. I'll die when it's my time to die. That's the way I look at it. I mean, they make you choose slavery. You've got to choose to want to go into that system. They make it very difficult for you not to. But really, I mean, you can. If we were doing what we're supposed to, if we were hunters and gatherers, we were going and getting proper exercise every day and not sitting around in chairs and doing all the shit we do in society, well, we'd know how to go and live in the forest. No, I'm not doing that anymore. I'll grab my arrow, I'll grab my bow, and I'll grab my dog, and I'm not going off to the forest. I'll build a teepee, I'll hunt, I'll fish, I'll pick fruits and berries, and I'll live. I'll be fine.
Yeah, big part of this is it's similar to with the COVIDs. A lot of people kind of knew it probably wasn't good to take the injection, but they wanted to go on that vacation, and they needed to take the injection to go on the vacation. They didn't. If they were smart, they would have just made a fake card, which is what I was doing. But that's kind of where we're at. Is you have to make these choices now, and a lot of people aren't willing to give up a lot of what they consider their life today, right? So,
well, they're not, and the whole thing's a big sacrifice.
So they're going to end
ritual.
up in the mainframe, basically.
It's a whole sacrificial ritual as well. You've got to choose to want to do it. Even getting back to Israel and what it's doing, I mean, you look at the Israeli star, which is actually the Star of Remphan, which was put on the Israeli flag by the Rothschilds. The Jews didn't want that flag there to represent their country, but the Rothschilds put it there because it's a satanic star of sacrifice. All these wars, all this sort of stuff. I mean, there's this huge occult ritual going on as well, huge energy harvest as well, dragging people into what I refer to as the well of souls. And you've got a choice whether to participate in that or not. And ultimately, like I said, it all comes down to a fear of death. I must do it, I'm told, because they will hurt me if I don't. Well, they're hurting me now. They're hurting you anyway. It's just a soft kill operation. And especially someone like me, I mean, I'm 68. Well, what do you think? I want to take these jabs and do what I'm told and get locked in a prison? And what, I'm going to be around forever? I'm going to be dead in a minute anyway, It doesn't matter,
Hopefully not.
Well, you know what I'm saying. Metaphorically speaking, So, it's ridiculous. But they've got a lot of the kids really heading this way, and they're really enjoying it. But all this AI participation, I mean, this is all tailoring this smart grid. Every time you're tapping on your phone, it's reading your biometrics, it's mapping your facial expressions. Even when you're reading Facebook posts and you're reading about the genocide in Gaza, if you're using your phone, it's micro-mapping, micro-expressions on your face. When you read, it knows what things you're looking at, and it's mapping your micro-expressions. It's getting an incredibly detailed profile on pretty well everybody that uses these phones, because the phone is looking at you while you're looking at the phone. Don't think it isn't, because it is, So I just don't use phones as much as I can. I always use computers, and I always have the cameras turned off. The screens are probably freaking viewing you anyway, who knows? So, but people don't understand what they're being led into, and a lot of kids are really going for it. A lot of people will simply go into it, but this is the big exam, and it's a choice for everybody, and it's up to you what your choice will be, because you are on your own individual soul path through this realm. And you've just got to understand that the one thing that is a given coming to this realm is that you will leave the realm, and like Jim Morrison said, knowing he gets out alive. So it's how you face that. don't give up your freedom and give up your soul and comply with things that your heart and soul knows is wrong in order to do what you're told, or in order to live a little longer in the prison, because that's the big test. That's the big test, you know. Try to leave the world better than how you found it, and realize that it's your soul path. This is just the exam. The main event is what comes after, and are you going to pass this exam? Are you going to be so scared of facing what comes after that you want to live forever in the mainframe? And it will be for a very long time. And even if you get biblical and religious about it, it says in the Bible, there'll be those in the end times who pray for death, but death will not come.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Crazy. Well, I think the last video we did together was on AI. We were talking about
Louise Cypher.
Louise Cypher, yeah.
It's interesting that all the stuff she said has absolutely come.
Oh, the AI
and this is
stuff's
stuff
crazy.
In 2014, I was telling people this is where we're going to go, and in 2025, our relationship with the internet is going to change. AI is going to come online, and everything's going to change. And it's just been insane.
Totally. So I should mention that you're going to be at Acapulco, of course, February 16th to 20th. Many of the people we've been talking about are going to be there, Christoph Melchizedek, and we did a video for Acapulco, and it was mostly all done with AI. So I'll actually play it here.
Scripts to recite, burn the old book, let the phoenix ignite, rebirth on the sand where the rebels convene, a Genesis scene, mind sharp and keen, dollars to dust, trust in the soul, and Acapulco where we break the mold, and Acapulco where the spirit flies, new dawn, breaking under open skies, no masters, no limits, no chains to choke, this is freedom's fire, and Acapulco spoke, and Acapulco where the spirit flies, new dawn, breaking under open skies, bonfire starts spark like flint. Ideas ricochet, no permission, no stint. Borders dissolve, minds expand. Every soul sovereign, every mind grand. No contract signed, just a handshake truth. Ancient wisdom reborn in the fountain of youth. Rules crumble like castles at high tide. Revolution lives where the dreamers reside. Golden horizon, the birth of the free. Echoes of laughter, the waves decree. Freedom is anthem, a beat in the chest. And Acapulco where the restless rest. And Acapulco where the spirit flies. New dawn, breaking under open skies. No masters, no limits, no chains to choke. This is freedom's fight, and Acapulco spoke. And Acapulco where the spirit flies. New dawn, breaking under open skies. No masters, no limits, no chains to choke. This is freedom's fight, and Acapulco spoke.
With performing artist Ayame.
I don't need a muse or anything to do. Probably just get canceled 'cause I'm singing about the truth. Feels like we're getting wiser, don't you? Since the lies that they blew up, now nobody trusts the news.
An Acapulco opening party on February 15th. An Acapulco Genesis, February 16th to 20th. The Dollar Vigilante TDV Summit, February 21st. The Crypto Vigilante TCV Summit, February 22nd. Agoraphobia, retreats, and other excursions, February 21st to 27th. Bufo and other plant medicines with Bearheart throughout the event. A special Iboga ceremony with Christoph Melchizedek from February 23rd. 2 Tesla plasma healing devices will be running throughout the event. Thanks to the Tesla Club. Bring the whole family. The Acapulco Family Camp runs throughout the event with activities for non-lethally injected, free-range, unschooled pure souls. Acapulco 2026. Genesis. Puerto Vallarta.
That is pretty incredible, and I've gotten some feedback, of course. All the people on the internet always have something to say. Like all the people, you know what? One thing when you mentioned that a bunch of people are like, "No one died in this event. No one died." I've actually seen events happen, and within 1 minute, people will be on there. No one died. It's like you don't even know. like you didn't even look into it yet.
See, people want me to take a side in all these things, and I just say, look, I wasn't there. We can argue about it all we like. It depends on what you choose to believe. Personally, I don't care if anyone died or not. That's not what's important. I mean, if people died, well, I'm very sorry that they died. But you know, it's not about that. It's about how the event's going to be used, what it's going to be used for, how they're going to use it to take away more of our rights. Or you guys are busy arguing over whether there was enough blood or whether there was this or whether. But while you're busy, like doing all that for the next 3 weeks, look what they've just done with the legislation. Yeah. And now you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't do this because you never protested that because you were too busy arguing over whether you were right or wrong.
And attacking the people who are actually on your side too.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So it doesn't really matter. And everything that I said they were going to use it for, they've used it for, and they are using it for. And even with the Australian government, they're trying to kick out the Prime Minister now because he's been very pro-Palestine. He hasn't liked the genocide at all. He even said that he wanted a full explanation from Israel when an Australian aid worker was killed in Gaza and all sorts of stuff like that. So he's been very outspoken for Palestine, which would, you know, for a government that is outspoken promoting and on supporting Palestine, you're not going to have Muslims come and attack this government and stage events. You're going to have these events staged because Israel needs you to come back and start supporting them again. So it needs to create sympathy for itself, which is why it does this all the freaking time, which is why if people died and there were real guys shooting, then they were probably MK Ultra. Mind control is a very real thing. People think it isn't, but it actually is, you know. And I think that the Syrian guy who went in and disarmed the gunman, I think he broke script. He wasn't supposed to be there. He was supposed to be disarmed by the guy in red, the Jewish guy.
Right.
Because Bibi went on TV straight away and said he was disarmed by a brave Jewish guy.
ראינו את הרוע בשפלותו, וראינו גם גבורה יהודית בשיאה. אני ראיתי בדרך הנה סרטון של יהודי שמתנפל על אחד המרצחים, שומט ממנו את הנשק ומציל מי יודע כמה.
And then later on had to retract and say, oh, it was a Muslim guy, you know. Because the Jew was supposed to do it. That's why the gunman looked, who are you, you know, like.
Yeah, sometimes their productions have some screw-ups. It's amazing they went on 60 Minutes like a year ago and actually said all this. They had the Mossad guy on there. And he said, we're the producers, we're the directors, we do all these things. And they do, like every day they're doing stuff. It's incredible.
We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay, we're the directors, we're the producers, we're the main actors, and the world is our stage.
Well, you know, we had the Australian government recognise Palestine, so soon we see synagogue firebombing, we see car firebombing, we see another synagogue attack, now we see a shooting, and then suddenly we've got a menorah at the Opera House, and new Jewish police force coming onto the ground, and new anti-Semitism laws coming into play, and free speech laws coming into play. And all these hate symbols have been outlawed. Like this guy, you see that guy got narked on the other day for having a tattoo on his leg. Did you see that?
I heard about it. They're now actually having Australian police checking people's tattoos.
But how set up is this? You got this guy. He's got a Filipino wife or whatever, and he doesn't really mean anything. But he's there, and he goes to the beach, and there's a guy on the beach. He's got white power on one leg and the SS shield down the bottom. And this guy is so offended by it that he calls the police. And then the police, in 2 days, have located this guy. He lives 360 miles away up the coast. Police are going knocking on his door and arresting him and blah, blah, blah. How did they find him so quickly? This is kind of weird that this happened so quickly. But it's got to that point that now you've got Australians knocking on other Australians because I don't like your tattoo. You know, and this tattoo he's probably been on there since he was a teenager. You know, we've got new hate speech laws. I commented on the Prime Minister's post on X and said, well, what about this hate symbol. What is a real hate symbol? And I gave him the history of the swastika, which is like 11,000 years old, and it's a symbol for good fortune and all sorts of stuff. Still widely used in places. I think Hungary, you'll see swastikas everywhere. It could be Hungary. I think it's Hungary. One of those countries around there. And it's Buddhists use it. Hopi Indians use it. Everybody used it. And you look at the Star of Remphan, which it even says in the Bible is a symbol for child sacrifice. That's not a hate symbol. We're going to have this Jewish flag there with the Star of Remphan on it, because there is no Star of David. Have that everywhere, but you can't have a swastika, which means peace, harmony, prosperity, balance, good fortune.
Everything inverted.
Everything's inverted.
Yeah.
Mirror world, mate. It's the mimic.
Totally.
It's unbelievable. Everything is backwards. Absolutely everything is backwards. Everything the Israeli troops accuse everybody else of doing is what they are doing. It's everything is backwards. But once you see what's going on here, this is a world takeover, and this war has been going on since World War One. World War One wasn't really Europe fighting, the Germans and England fighting. Really, it was these Zionists fighting the rest of the world, and they have managed to put countries against each other, destroy massive amounts of population, massive amounts of civilization, flood the West with migrants, see decline in all Western and African, Asian, everywhere around the world, except China, but that's coming. And now it's freeing itself. We don't need your arms anymore. We don't need this anymore. We don't need the Palestinians anymore. Even when they started the war on Gaza, they had the Greater Israel patches on their arms. I said back in the beginning, this is not a war for Gaza. This is a war for Greater Israel. This is the beginning of the war for Greater Israel, and all that's unfolding. And like I said, you've got to understand the plan is to not just establish Greater Israel and rule the world. The plan is to kill everything.
Yeah.
And everybody.
Yeah, and it's amazing too. You look at what's happening there. You've got just these evil people who are in a cult, and they're like doing the most disgusting, evil things ever, killing babies. Most of the people there are kids, as you pointed out numerous times. Like more than half the people in Gaza are children. They're literally children. And they're going in and slaughtering them. And a lot of these people aren't actually doing anything really to fight back, which, is what Jesus would do, right? Like, it's like, if you're that evil, go ahead and kill me, but I'm not going to, get into this thing with you.
Well, they can't either. They know that if they do, it's not acceptable. You cannot resist in any way.
Oh, sure.
If anybody fights back, like if your son, Leonardo, if he was taken by the police here in Mexico and they tried to beat him up, if he fought back and slapped one of them or punched one of them or pulled out a gun and shot one of them, then you'd have them all come here and they'd burn your house down and kill your entire family. They'd find all your relations and kill them too. That's what it's like in West Bank and Gaza. So no resistance is acceptable. If you resist at all, you're a terrorist. And if you're a terrorist, we have a policy that we destroy the homes of the terrorists, which means your family's gone as well. So you can't resist. That's the thing,
But it's just amazing how they try to portray it as they're the evil ones, these people in Gaza. It's a bunch of kids who are just getting slaughtered and raped and tortured. And they're the ones doing all this stuff. They're supposed to be like the heroes defending themselves. It's incredible how, and the fact that this is happening where they say Jesus is from too, right? Like it's like Bethlehem is in the West Bank. I've actually been there.
It's north of West Bank. I mean, West Bank's shrink. Well,
I know when I went to Bethlehem, I was behind the wall that barricaded it off from Israel. So I was in Palestine.
Well, there's a Palestinian section and there's a Jewish section. But,
okay. But still, the fact that that's where they say Jesus is from, and you have these people, which Jesus said is the synagogue of Satan, killing everyone, and you have Christians cheering it on. It's unbelievable.
Well, it's because of the Schofield Bible. When the Schofield Bible came out, the whole concept of Judeo-Christianism was born. The concept that there's such a thing as a Judeo-Christian. Well, there isn't. The two faiths are complete opposites to each other, and the Jews, the Judaic faith, is using the Christians to whip up enmity against the Muslims. And as the rabbis said, Islam is the broom of Israel, because the United States has bombed something like 41 countries or 42 countries or something since World War II, and it's displaced 40 million people in the Middle East since the 9/11 attacks. And then you have Israeli NGOs come along and say, we're so sorry what Europe and America did to you. We'll provide you free rides to get to Europe, to the very people who've been bombing your country for the last 20 years. You can go and live there, you know. So Israel's brought all of them in there, and all of them, and they've brought them in at such a rate that they can never assimilate into the culture. You know, it isn't that they're failing to. They can't. You bring in 100,000 migrants into France in 1 year. How are they going to assimilate into the culture? It's not like a family came to move into, you know, Marseille or something. You know, you get hundreds of thousands of these people. Like 10,000 arrive in a village of 8,000, you know, one day. Some of the stuff that you see, and the same in Australia. Brought in 100,000 migrants a year in Australia. I mean, Australia is 26 million people. They brought in something like 4 million migrants or something like that. Now, they can't assimilate. So all this has been done deliberately to create the war on the ground. So, I mean, this has all been done. This is what the war of terror was all about. You stage 9/11, and America goes in and decimates the entire Middle East, drives all of those people into the West, and then Israel starts saying, Israel is invading your nations. You need to go to war, war. We need war. Iran's behind it all. These are all Iranian proxies, sending, you know, people of armed age into your military age into your countries. And that's all been done by Israel. And Israel needs Iran gone, because in order to set itself up as greater Israel as the regional power, can't have Iran there. Iran is a quite strong nation. Got to get rid of that. Can't have those people having any power at all. So he wants America to go to war with Iran, and America will send Iran back to the Stone Age, which is really sad because it's such a beautiful country. But in the same process, it will destroy America, because America will be broke at the end of it. And if Israel is going to pull its arms manufacturing home and not be buying off the United States, and it's not going to need all that aid, and it's not going to be buying all that military stuff off the United States, so the US economy is going to go, because the whole US economy runs off the weapons industry, mainly weapons that it sells to Israel and Ukraine. So if Israel's not buying them anymore, well, what are you going to do in all those bomb factories? And your economy's already been decimated. They've already blown up so many food factories and so much stuff they've done. They've really set America up for a fall. And as I've said so many times, if you're going to bring down the United States, it's got to be done from within. The people are two arms. You can't go into hot battle on American soil. You've got to just decimate the ability for the United States to look after itself, which is what they've done. You know?
Yeah.
So,
incredible times. Getting back to the AI stuff, I mentioned the Anarchapulco video. It's almost all AI, and I had a bunch of people commenting, "How dare you use AI?" Just, you know, so you know, the way I look at it is I use the internet, which is also just like another arm of what's turned into AI, right? We've always used the internet to get out our stuff that is contrary to the system, use it against them. And so I have no problem using AI to also do the same thing.
well, yeah, that's what JGTV and stuff is doing. So I mean, you've got to, it's there. And if you, some of those songs that I've played on the end of my shows that have been AI have been great. Even that Hitler song the other day, which I got to tell you, I mean, we're cooked listening to some of that. Some of the, you got to hear this other one that I've got. That guy sent me, this woman singing, and like you can hear her breathing, and I'm just going, we are so screwed. We are so screwed. As far as, you know, you're not going to need Miley Cyrus or any of this stuff anymore. You can do it all with AI. It's insane.
It's incredible.
How good it's gotten, you know. It's freaky.
Like, you look so real in that video. And it actually, and all we did, you had a very similar outfit on. We were here for New Year's Eve last year, and you had that exact outfit on. And all we did was we gave it one photo. And we said, make him play the guitar. And it looked just like, and even how you move, that's how you move.
Yeah. It was remarkable. Because I was surprised when I saw that. I went, it's got my shirt on. I can't remember. I've never used that shirt. I've never worn that outfit in a walk and talk. So I'm thinking, where did she go?
It was New Year's Eve last year, which you're going to be here again this year for New Year's Eve. But yeah, just one photo.
Yeah.
And it did that.
Yeah.
And just imagine where it's going to be in a year or two. Because it's speeding up so fast now.
Yeah.
Like
it's incredible.
The next few years is going to be insane, totally insane.
Be really prepared with what's going on, and the silver going through the roof. I mean, this show, apparently JP Morgan went liquidated. I don't know whether it was JP Morgan, but
I don't think
apparently,
that's true from what I've
apparently
looked
a
into.
big bank got liquidated. There was some big bank that failed its failed to pay its margin call. That's what I heard. I don't know.
I've heard the rumor.
But,
I haven't
like
seen
silver
it.
jumped up 10% in one day.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It's crazy, and of course it's down a little bit now, but it'll go. I think it seems to be breaking free because the jumps it's made in the last 3 or 4 months are like I've never seen.
Yeah,
You
it's
know? I bought silver back in like 2005. I think I bought some kilo bars of silver, and it was really cheap. It was like Australian buck. It was like $6 an ounce or something, you know. And
Yeah, it was down
now
around
it's
five.
like Australia. I looked the other day. It's $122 an ounce.
you're
which
doing
is-
good. You're silver rich.
It's well, but it's all back in a safe in Australia, you know, and not a great deal of it, but you know, there's some there for my son, so that's good. But I just can't believe how quick it's gone because it took like 4 years or 5 years to kind of double, and then it's doubled again in the last 3 months, which is just crazy for silver.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
silver. Yeah,
So that really signals that.
there's major things happening.
There's some major stuff happening. Like you've been calling the financial system's going to collapse for years, and I think we are extremely close to that happening. Because that's another thing. Like when Israel pulls its funding away from the U.S. weapons system and starts developing its own weapons, because that's all Israel is good at is making more effective ways of killing large numbers of people at once. Very good at that. Then that's gonna. Like every single state, this is why it's so hard to stop the weapons industry and the war industry with what's going on in the United States, because you might have an aircraft or a bomb or a helicopter or something, and there'll be one part of that helicopter or bomb or whatever made in every state, every town. There'll be a factory, and we make all this and that. Oh, but we also make these things that they need on F-22s or whatever, So that factory doesn't want the weapons industry to close down because that little part they make for the F-22 is one of their biggest incomes, So it's been designed that way. And once the weapons industry goes down in the United States, all those little factories in West Michigan and all these little backwater places, they're all going to go down as well. So jobs are going to be. It's going to be.
The AI is going to
massive
take
decline.
so many jobs as
So
well.
many.
It's going to be the financial collapse, which I think is going to be this year, but we'll see. I thought it was going to be 2025, but we're this close right now. You can see it with gold. You can see it with silver.
Gold and silver is indicating, yeah.
Absolutely. So it's going to be crazy times ahead. But I recommend you come to Anarchapulco. It's coming up in just a month and a half now. Time is flying so much.
Really, really quick, yeah.
It's going to be in Puerto Vallarta this year. Mac's going to be there, Christoph Melchizedek, and so many people. We've got about like 50 plus speakers, incredible events. And actually, we've actually sold more tickets as of right now than we did all of last year, and we still got a month and a half left to go. And we usually sell the most amount of tickets in the last month and a half. So, so it's going to be a good crowd there in Puerto Vallarta, which might be one of the only places you might be able to go soon if they put in all this biometric stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to go to the United States early next year because I have a sick friend there that I want to go and look after. So when I go, I'll let you know. And if you don't hear from me at the end of the day, then they stopped me at the border and deported me to Australia or something. So it'd be interesting to see where it's going to go, because apparently there's all this chat scan and all sorts of weird shit there. They're refusing people entry for the most minuscule things. So and this is all coming in Europe as well. So I mean, I'm wondering whether Libre Pulco will be a reality for people like you and me. You got to wonder. And if Israel has its way, well, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some major event, like something that makes 9/11 look like a picnic, that happens even, like I said, there's a major conjunction, I think, happening in March or April or February or something like that. And they'd like to use those sorts of events to stage these things. So I wouldn't be surprised. I said on a couple of videos that I'm expecting February, March, possibly April, something quite large to happen. Some major world disruption.
Yeah,
Which, who knows? I mean, maybe we won't even be able to travel by then. Who knows? I mean, Europe could go into a hot war. They want to kill as many people as they can. They really want to go to war with Iran. And going to war with Iran, like I said, this will destroy Iran, but it will also destroy the United States, and that's the plan, you know?
Yeah, in the December dispatch, which just went out last night, I made my predictions for 2026, and one of them was basically a false flag war event far bigger than 9/11 in 2026. I fully expect it because everything's collapsing now, so they have to do something like really big to take people's minds off it and go, oh yeah, the market's collapsed, everything collapsed, the banks all shut down because of a cyber attack or because of a new virus, which is actually them setting off the 5G or 6G now and setting off the graphene in people and killing them and all that kind of stuff. So those are my predictions. If you want to check it out, dollarvigilante.com/subscribe. I actually wrote about like 30 pages for the last issue. There's so much to talk about going on.
And they put in that new legislation Trump put in whereby the Minerals Act, where they can reclaim minerals that they need for national security. And I said, you're going to see a confiscation of silver, which is one of the reasons that the price is going up so much. There's a like 900 million ounce shortfall. Most people who bought silver only owe it on paper.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got companies like Tesla and General Electric buying massive amounts of silver for their Tesla cars and all this sort of everything, all their electric stuff and their smart stuff. So they're going to be going there and buying overpriced. They're going to be offering, you know, above spot because I want to secure the silver for my Tesla, car companies and stuff. And you might see the government's going to, say climate change, massive heat wave, and you've got to surrender your silver because if you don't, people are dying, all this sort of stuff. And it's exactly what they introduced legislation like this right before the gold buyback in 1933.
Yep.
And now they've just done the same sort of legislation, which is worded to be able to encompass silver.
Yep.
So, and we're seeing silver do all this stuff. I reckon they're going to try to buy back people's silver. So you need to make sure your silver is secure in a way that the government doesn't know you have it, or it's the type of silver that they can't buy back, like collectibles or something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting times ahead. And you mentioned that you're going to go to the U.S. to help your friend who's not well, and I think you're helping them out with the Tesla machine, right? And
it's a big one too because they're very sick, and I'm trying to save a life here, and I'll keep you documented on it. I'm not documenting it because this is a woman's life we're talking about here, so she doesn't want to. But if we have positive results, you'll definitely hear about it.
Yeah, and you've actually had so many great results with it. You've basically got rid of a guy's Bell's palsy very quickly. You cured a woman of myocarditis, which is supposedly impossible. You had a major trauma injury of a surfer where you thought he'd have to be he couldn't walk for weeks. He was back surfing the next day.
Bruce.
Yeah. He's the guy who came up with the name for an Acapulco, by the way.
Yeah.
So you've actually been one of the more you've healed a lot of people with the Tesla machine.
Well, it's been good. So I'm really interested to see how it's going to go with my friend in Sedona.
Yeah, so if you want to check that out, go to tesla.club. And also we're going to have two running the entire Anarchapulco. You saw it at Liverpolco with Naomi and Alonzo running it. That was crazy. There's going to be two machines at Anarchapulco, and it won't be my daughter, but it'll be Alonzo and Vanessa, who's with Tesla. She actually ran it last year at Anarchapulco. She's a great woman. If you want to check out the Tesla machine, come to Anarchapulco. Highly recommend it. It might be the last one we ever have. As you pointed out, so many things are going to change in the next year. Who knows if we'll be able to travel much anymore?
It'd be great if the whole world's imagine if it's all just complete freaking chaos, but you're still having an Acapulco.
Well, that's what we've done. Yeah, we never shut down for the COVID.
That'd be cool.
That's why we moved to the Secret Garden, is because no events, Burning Man canceled for 2 years during the COVID. So that's supposed to be the outside the box, the rebels. And Acapulco never shut down.
11 years now. It's the 11th year, isn't it?
I think 12th.
12th year.
Yeah.
I missed the first one.
Yeah.
But I came to the second one, and then there was that 1 year where I broke my foot and I couldn't come.
Right. You're trying to get off your property in a flood or something?
Yeah, I just slipped on the steps and broke my freaking ankle. And 3 days before I'm due to fly, you'd already bought me the ticket and everything. And I'm like, hey guys, sorry. Because I went, I'm still going to do it. And after I got out of the hospital, I went, no, you're not. There's no freaking way you're going there. So I couldn't. But that's the only one I missed. And I tried to do it virtually, but the bandwidth was so bad from my little shed in Australia out on the property there. And
Well, I'll be there this year. Looking forward to it. I think it'll be really great. Going to have a huge crowd and a lot of amazing people.
yeah.
And also, you don't have to walk down those muddy streets anymore to the back in a secret garden. We're kind of back out in public again.
Yeah, it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be good to get up and check out Puerto Vallarta again as well. I've got a lot of friends up there, and it's easy to get to. So yeah, see you there, folks. If you're coming, it'll be good to see you.
Yeah, and if you don't know Max, which I'm sure like no one watching this doesn't know Max at this point, but if you didn't, he's what is it, thecrowhouse.com?
Thecrowhouse.com, yeah.
He's also on BitChute.
On YouTube, but don't know how long. I got a strike on my channel the other day.
Me too.
For the Kalergi
They removed
video.
Yeah, they actually removed one of my videos. The Bondi one.
They
it.
removed my Kalergi plan video. I did one called Practical Idealism, or the Kalergi plan, Practical Idealism in Motion, and they removed it. It's been up there a month, 2 months, but they removed it and gave me a strike, so who knows.
My Bondi one about how Mossad did it was taken down almost immediately.
Yeah.
No surprise there.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're also on Vigilante.tv. Check that out. And I guess we should wrap it up. Anything else you wanted to say?
No, that's all good. Just enjoy the ride, folks. It's going to be mega, but believe in yourself and be prepared for some major changes. And just when that happens, just go with the flow. Do what you need to do. Like I've said, face infinity without flinching. The knack of being able to face with serenity odds and circumstances that were not included in your calculations, and simply going with it and doing what needs to be done, stepping onto the new path that reality has provided for you, because that's what it's all about. And don't fear the outcome, because it's just a big show. This is what we all came here for. So yeah, enjoy the ride. It's been good to come and talk to you.
Yeah.
In Lakesh.
Yeah, this is your 3D video game. This is your true man show. So enjoy it as much as possible. It's getting super interesting. We're nearing the end, I think, of this part of the Matrix video game, and it's going to be so amazing to see. And I think we can get through it too. And I think you've said that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we're going to get through it, but not everyone. You're
It's
going to have to be smart.
It's not going to look like what it does now.
No,
It's gonna
nothing
be-
like this. It's actually
gonna
be a million times better.
It's gonna be a
Everyone's going to have a
different world.
plasma machine in their house. They're going to be perfectly healthy. Everyone will be using privacy coins like Pirate Chain and gold and silver for money. There'll be no central banks. There'll be no wars. There'll be no government slavery. It's going to be awesome, but you just got to get through it. I think we got about, according to Christoph, about 7 years left. And if you do what Max said and you end up in the mainframe, Christoph says you're going to be in there for 52,000 years. So choose wisely.